Hi everyone, it's Sarah. Welcome to my channel. This is take 2. I had a mess of a time the first time, so I think hopefully I've got everything situated better and I'm a little more organized. We shall see. Cats are still making all kinds of noise. That was another reason why I was reshooting, but I can't do anything about that because I'm shooting at a different time. Typically I shoot in the morning. I woke up this morning, and this has been the case for like the last 3 weeks. I've been dealing with some allergy issues. I woke up this morning just convinced I was going to shoot a video, and I was so congested. I was coughing, and I was like, nobody wants to listen to that. So finally, I'm doing something about it. Tomorrow is the beginning of Stitch Mania, so I wanted to make sure I got a video in before that. Stitch Mania, if you don't know, there is a Facebook group called Stitch Mania, and it started out with a couple of people who wanted to do a whole bunch of new starts back in 2015. This is my very first Stitch Mania, but I will get into that a little bit later. Yeah, so I'm just going to start with some whips because I have a few things that I've worked on. It's, like I said, it's been a few weeks, so, and I'm going to question myself whether I have said something in this video yet or not, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to start with a few whips. The first one is Peacocks Garden. I am still on the January portion of it. They just released the May portion, so super duper behind, but that's okay. This is the first portion, Mr. Peacock here. And I'm working on this on 32 count linen, 1/1. I'm not going to try to put that back in because I'm having a mess of a time with it. And doing 1/1, and I was just doing it in hand. I tend to stitch in hand just because I hate having to move hoops around. That's my main reason. I'm lazy like that, but because this is mainly motifs other than the big border, I'm going to be okay with using a hoop, so I decided it's going to make it easier. So I got a little bit done on it, worked over in here a little bit, and yeah, with the hoop it is a ton easier. So that is what he is looking like now. I think he's pretty awesome. Little bit done on him. Next, I do not have a picture for this one. I'm sorry. This is Daly Cross Stitch Sword and Shield. I have one printed off, but it is not in the bag for whatever reason, and I don't know where exactly it is. So I'm just going to show it to you. It's getting close. This is going to be filled in, and the rest of this is going to be filled in with this white. I fixed this error down here that I showed you where I had gone a couple of rows too far on this. Wasn't too hard of a fix to go back in and get that. It may still be. I may have fudged a little bit, but it's at least meeting up where it's supposed to. And I still have to do the rest of the sword and the hilt down here, and then it'll be a done deal. I'm dropping things. Because what would this be if not a FlossTube video without me dropping things? Let's do a little bit of homework. School of Magical Stitches. Couple of weeks ago, I have not been super diligent with the homework. I will admit it's been, and see, I'm out of focus again. There we go. But a couple of weeks ago, there was an assignment. And there may be homework that I just don't remember working on that's over there. Things that I've worked on that I didn't pull out. I was just kind of going off memory because it's been so long. I will warn you, this may be a little bit of a longer video because it's been so long. But this is upside down. We had a challenge to do 300 stitches in green a couple of weeks ago. So I decided to work on Santa's Workshop by... this is a Jan Lynn kit that I have had since before I got married to my husband. We've been married for 19 years. So, yeah, it's an older whip, to put it mildly. And I'm not super far on it. But I decided to work a little bit on this greenery because I really don't have that many projects where the green was. So I would have had to do a lot of counting, and I didn't want to do that. So this one I'd actually even done a few of the stitches. So... let's see if I can get that to focus. Of course not. There we go. So, yeah, 300 plus stitches there in green because some were already done before I started the challenge. So there is what I had got done on that. I do love the piece. I just need to work on it. I feel like I'm just going to be tapping this the whole time. I guess it doesn't autofocus like it does when I use my rear camera. I'm using the selfie mode because that way I can make sure things are where they're supposed to be. But it just doesn't act the same way, which makes sense. This week, ending tonight, our homework was, we had to put up a WIP list a couple of weeks ago with all of our projects that we wanted to put in there up to 20. I have a list of 15. There were a couple I didn't include because I didn't want to just pull them out just whenever. But today, or this week's, for the short week, this is just for the 29th and 30th, was to stitch on your smallest project by stitch count. And then there were extra points if you did an FFO. I did not do an FFO, but I did get a finish. This is A Gnome for You by Brandy Goebel. I will link it. I'll link everything that I can think of to link. Before I started on the challenge, I just had this little bit of the red cap up there done, so I'm super excited. I opted not to do the words. There's the words A Gnome for You up in the corner there, and I'm going to keep him for myself, so I did not put those words there. But yeah, I'm super excited with how he turned out, and I got a finish because of magical stitches, which is always a good thing. Because I finished that, I was able to move on to my second smallest project, which is Skele-dancers by Daly Cross Stitch. The same people that did the Sword and Shield. I will link them so you can see what the Sword and Shield looks like. I do have a card like this, like I said, for the Sword and Shield. Do not know where I put it. I think I pulled it out last time, and for whatever reason, it didn't end up back in the bag. So yeah, Skele-dancers. I think they're cute. Before homework, I had about half of him done. I had the torso, I had his head, and I think I had an arm or a leg. I don't quite remember. You'd think I would remember because I just started it last night. But I got the orange skeleton totally finished. And a pretty good ways on the black skeleton. All I gotta do is do the other arm and leg. And it's gonna be cute. And then there'll be a purple one over in here. So, pretty good ways. I got about 400 stitches put in him. 300 in the other one. So, that'll be 7 points I get for Ravenclaw, which is exciting. It's nice to be able to pull it out and be able to feel like I was helping a little bit after not doing a lot of homework in the last few weeks. Now I'm going to talk about Christmas presents. Many of you know, I think I mentioned this last time, that Dragon by Valenti cross stitch. This is the one for my brother. Why am I not finding the actual cover sheet? Sorry about that. I thought I had it right in front. Huh. Well, that's fun. I said this was my second take, and I had it my first take, and I guess I dropped it, or it got put in a different bag, or, no. Let's see. Gonna shake the cave table a little bit because I did not plan as well as I thought. Valenti cross stitch dragon. I will link this as well. This is from an Etsy store. And this is my full cover Fanatics Daily 90-day challenge piece. I think the last time I showed this to you, I just got a page finish. So I am working on the second page. This is the full width of it. And I haven't got as far as I thought I would have got. I'm having a hard time seeing. There we go. Hopefully you can see most of that. A lot of nights I was only able to put a couple of stitches in, or a half a strand or a strand. There's been very few nights that I've really put in multiple strands, and I really thought I would be getting more of that done, but that's okay. I'm still enjoying working on it. I've just had other focuses elsewhere, so that is what I have managed on that. That 90-day challenge, I think, goes to the end of June, so I'll still have some time to make some more progress. It'd be nice to have another page finished by the end of it. We'll see if I can make that happen. And then, I think I had just, if I remember correctly, just barely started on this one. This is Saguaro National Park, Awesome Pattern Studio. And I think I'd put in like a row or two of this orange tangerine color up here last time. And I have no idea what happened to the piece. Well, that's... Oh, I've got the wrong... I am together, let me tell you. And I'm not doing a good job of telling that. Dragon is on 18 count Aida, just white Aida. The gnome is on a hand-painted green linen. I painted it myself using fabric medium and acrylic paints. And I've tested it, and it's waterproof. It hasn't run at all when I've tried to run water under it. I did mention the 32 count linen for the other one. The kits were just the fabric that came with it. This is how far I've gotten. Let me show you this again because I rambled, because that's what I do. I was not having a lot of fun just doing the yellow up at the top. I mean, the orange up at the top. I was super excited to get into some of this yellow down here. I'm going to probably continue working on this for the rest of this week, and then sometime this weekend I will change over to my dad's piece. And I did get that this week. I put an order in for it through mybobbin.com, I believe. I will link it down below. But I originally pulled all of the things that I was doing for Christmas for my family off of Etsy, and I happened to see that this same pattern was on my bobbin, and they were running a sale, so I went ahead and grabbed it from there. I've been seeing a lot of reviews and stuff for my bobbin. I wanted to give them a try. All I did was order the one PDF. It was a super simple process. I just paid with PayPal, and I had the pattern immediately. So, yeah, that was nice. I have it. The pattern is really well laid out from what I've seen. The thing that I'm learning about Russian designs, and it's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. The Awesome Pattern Studio, or I think some of them may be Ukrainian. I think Awesome Pattern Studio may be Ukrainian, but they don't do the 10 by 10 grid lines on them all. The Saguaro National Park does not have the grid lines. The Mushroom House, which if I didn't do it earlier, will be up here. I'll put a picture of that up there. Did not have them. So, and then I've got a couple other small charts that I just didn't even really notice it didn't have them because they were so small I didn't notice. But when you're doing bigger pieces, you notice that, and that's surprising to me. So I may go in with a pencil or something and mark those off, because I do find it easier to work with having that as an option. So, and since I'm talking about the purchase from my pattern, I'll go ahead and go into other stuff that I have acquired this past little bit. It's not a lot. I did go to a cross stitch store though. We went to Memphis, and I went to Stitchers Incorporated, and let me grab their business card. Cute little shop. It's kind of tucked away. Well, there we go. So that's their business card. I feel like I'm just in the shot too much. And I got a few things from there. I got, not a lot, but I got some needles, because who doesn't need needles? Just some John James 28. Only needles that I have local to me that I can get are Hobby Lobby, so it was nice to be able to go pick up. I am sorry about this focusing issue, and I don't know. I may have to go back to rear camera. I like being able to see what I'm doing, but I don't like that it's not auto-focusing. It says it's on autofocus though, so I don't know. I'm confused. I'll have to play around with it a little bit more. I picked up this Prairie Schooler chart. Songs of the Seasons. This is number 81. And again, I'm going to have to focus it. Okay, I think that they're pretty cute. At some point, I will start on them. I don't know when, but I thought it was adorable. And for $6. $6. It was hard to say no to. It's the same price almost. I mean, they have some little ones that are not much cheaper than that. So, I was excited to get 6 designs to stitch up. for that. I've never done a prairie schooler before, but they have an aesthetic that I really adore, so I'm excited to do my first prairie schooler at some point. Sorry. And then I got Petite Treasure braid, and I've lost my piece. I have not stitched on it, but if you remember, I've tried a couple of different things. I did not have any silver metallic. There's some silver stars in this. This is Let It Snow by Country Cottage Needlework, so I have some stars to put up in there. So I'm excited to try out the Petite Treasure braid, because I've heard that it's just a lot easier to work with than the Light Effects. I bought the Artiste brand from Hobby Lobby, tried that, and I shared with y'all last week that, or not last week, last video, that it was not a favorite of mine. So I'll put that in there. Hopefully I'll have it as a finish next time, because I'm literally like 12 stitches away from having a finish on that one. And then the other haul I did not do for me. I did it for my husband. When we were at Stitchers Incorporated in, I say I'm going to have trouble because the needlework shop that I used to go to in St. Louis was called Stitches Incorporated. No, Stitches Etc. And this is Stitchers Incorporated. So you're gonna probably notice that if I continue to talk about them, which we have reason to go to Memphis every few months, so I probably will. I'm gonna mess up the name because of past places. But yeah, he was looking at all of the Mill Hill kits, and he really liked the Christmas Village ones. And I knew it was going to be a few months before we were able to go back. He just kind of had started researching them online and looking up some videos on YouTube, like Stitcherista had done a kind of an unboxing of one that he watched, and he was like, yeah, I really want to do that village. And he really likes trains, so he decided to start with the Train Depot. I ordered this from 123 Stitch because, like I said, we don't have a local needlework shop. I do believe that Memphis is our closest one, and it's 3 hours away. So, but he picked this one. I ordered it from 123 Stitch. It was my very first order from 123 Stitch. I ordered Friday night. Yeah, Friday night late. Like, I mean, it may have still been business hours in Utah. I'm in Missouri, but it was definitely not business hours here. I missed where I got a shipping notification on Saturday, and my husband texted me on Monday morning, and he's like, it's supposed to be here tomorrow, being Tuesday, being today. And I was like, holy cow. And then he's like, you're not going to believe this, it's coming today. So it was showing St. Louis at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and by 11 o'clock it was in my mailbox. And I don't live close to St. Louis, so somehow or another it missed a tracking spot or something. But yeah, it was in our mailbox at 11 o'clock, or 12 o'clock, before noon anyway. And yesterday he got home from work, he sat down and he stitched from, oh man, I don't know exactly what time he got home, but basically from the time he got home till the time he went to bed, other than eating and bathroom breaks. So, and this is where he got on it. So, and I know this one especially, I should have that, but I thought I would share it with you because he's excited to be stitching again. He has done some cross stitching in the past. I'll show you. I have one piece here that he's done. This was his very first piece. This is just in kind of a cheap little Dollar Tree frame, and there's going to be all kinds of glare and fun clutter you can see on the other side of this, I'm sure. But yeah, he did this bear, and I noticed that this probably should line up better with the ear. I didn't realize until I was looking at it that this is probably supposed to be, I don't know, the bear's like, I don't think that I'm going to use this mat when it really gets framed, because the bear is smaller than what they've got this thing on. And I'm pretty sure he used the fabric that came, it was a kit, and I'm pretty sure he used the fabric that came with the kit. So, I don't know. But yeah, that was his very first project. He has another one. It needs to be cleaned. It's something he did for my sister and her family. It's a nativity he did years and years ago, and it's been sitting there in desperate need of cleaning and framing, and I've been kind of scared to do it. And watching FlossTube has given me some courage to just go ahead and try to clean it for him and get it framed so that we can actually give it to my sister, hopefully before Christmas this year. It was a Christmas present many years ago, and we were like, we're going to take it, because he didn't have time to get it framed after he finished it, because he was like really working up to the last minute. So we were like, we're going to get it cleaned and get it framed, and then we'll bring it back to you. And that was, I want to say, probably 10 years ago. So yeah, we're pretty bad there. So that is a goal of mine this year, is to get that finished and back into her house in time to display it this Christmas. So So yeah, that's the stuff I've added. Like I said, not a whole lot, but a few things. I'm going to talk now about Stitch Mania a little bit and my plans. I'm not doing anything super like, it's not intensive. I do have a project to start every day. Let me talk about a little bit about what I'm doing. I have this book. It is Donna Kruger's 555 Christmas Cross-Stitch Designs. I have had this book for a very long time. 15 years probably, I want to say. Definitely over a decade I've had this book. And I have stitched 3 designs out of it. And I'm like, you know, there's 555. Surely I can find 31 that I would like to do that I have fabric for. Because I don't know if you remember, but I showed in one of my earliest videos just some fabric remnants that I bought at the needlework store that I went to in St. Louis. Had remnants that they would sell. And they're not huge or anything like that, but they would be good for the smaller designs in this book. And they would sell them for like a quarter or 50 cents or whatever. So I'd go in and grab a handful every time I went in there. So I ended up with a pretty good supply of them. And so I spent a lot of time a few weeks ago, actually a couple of weeks ago, going through fabric, going through these designs. I picked out a bunch of designs in here. I think 35 total that are super small, like less than 50 by 50. And I took baggies and I put the piece of fabric and a little, like a half an index card that tells what page the project is, a little description. They don't really have titles of the projects, but just a description of, and there's going to be some glare, I'm sorry, a description of what is on it. Like this says vase, and then I have the actual dimensions of it because I did the cards first and then I went and matched up fabric. So, so I'll show you another one. There's a tulip in the nature section that I really liked. And then, let's see. On some of them, a lot of them had fractionals. So, if they had a fractional, I put it on there so that whenever I was working on finding the fabric for each piece, I could tell whether or not I would be better off using even weave or linen or Aida, depending on whether or not there were fractionals, because some of them don't. Those first 2 I showed you, the bags did not have fractionals in them. So I have 35 bags for that. I do not have any flosses or anything like that. They're all going to be done with the called for DMCs. And that's one of the reasons I decided to do. I was originally going to do stuff out of just cross stitch ornament issues, because I have a few of those, and there's a bunch. I mean, there's probably 10 per book that I would like to do. And I was like, oh, I'll just do those. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, there's a lot of them that I really want to do with the specialty threads. And I really don't have a lot of specialty threads. Or I have one skein of a silk that I bought 7 years ago that I haven't used, is what I have. So I opted to do this. Maybe next year I'll do some of the stuff out of just cross stitch and some of the other places that I have Christmas ornaments. Like there's freebies that I've downloaded from the internet that I would like to do. I have crinics and stuff like that, but I don't have like any of the overdyed or silks really enough to do those. So maybe next year as I go through finishing up these, I can start kitting up stuff for next year's Mania. Maybe I'll do another Christmas ornament Mania with more specialty type projects in it. But I can't really show you. You can see on the front some of the types of designs that are in here. I can show you the 3 that I have finished. They are not fully finished because I don't do that, apparently. And I've shown these before, but just to put them in context. So this is just a little Christmas tree. This is pretty close to finished. All I need to do is like stick something in, like a ribbon or something to hang it with. But just a little Christmas tree, tiny. That was like a really quick project even for me. This pine cone, which I really, really like the way it turned out, came from that book. And this banner. And these were done, I mean, these were done over 5 years ago at least, 6 years ago even, because we've lived in Missouri for 6 years, and I know that those were all done prior to that. I can show you some of the things because at the beginning of each section, this is done in sections. So like the first one is just kind of a cutesy traditional. Let me do this right. So this stocking here, that says Noel, that's one of the ones. This cute little cat, this says greetings with the sleepy cat with the Santa hat. That's another one that I'm going to do. These are charted as samplers, but it would be easy enough to pull out what you want. This one is the Santa section, and all of the charts behind this is also Santa's, or Santa related to some extent. So this is one of the ones that I have pulled fabric for. Let me see what else. Sorry, bumped the camera. This right here with the 3 wise men is another one that I had pulled fabric for. This Let It Snow. And this polar bear. So yeah, I found 35 projects under 50 by 50 that I was interested in maybe doing as new starts for Stitch Mania. I did a few extra because I am not putting any of the flosses in these bags until I am ready to stitch on them. I'm just going to grab a strand from my other places that I keep flosses. I don't have all of the flosses, so hopefully each one, I mean, like a lot of them have black, and I have black, so I can hopefully at least put a strand of black or red or white, or, you know, some of the main colors, like 321 and 666 are used a lot in this. Obviously 310, white, 5200, all of those I have ecru. So hopefully, if nothing else, I can stick like one of those more common colors in, if I don't have any of the other stuff. Something just fell. But if not, if for some reason I pull one out and I don't have a color to go into it, I've got a few extra that I can just pull another one out. And if I find that getting close to the end of the month, I've pulled out more than 2 or 3, then I can go and maybe buy the flosses that I need for those as we get closer to the end of the month, just to make sure I put a few stitches in. 31 projects. I am not putting any pressure on myself to do one a day. I would like to do 31 by the end of the month, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself to do one a day. We have a big event in the middle of the month that we go to. We do a gaming convention that lasts for 4 days that we go to every year. This will be our 6th year attending. So for that time, I'm not taking any of this with me. My husband is on call for Memorial Day weekend, so we're not going anywhere. So I will be able to hopefully catch up and you know, put, like I said, my goal is to put at least a strand of one floss in every day, or 31 times, whatever. Like I said, I'm not putting any pressure on myself to do it every day, or and if for some reason things just get, we're gonna have a, like I said, we have the convention. We're gonna have a house guest for the last half of the month. My sister-in-law flies in for the convention every year and then spends 2 weeks with us until the beginning of June. So, but she cross stitches too, so maybe I can, you know, we spend a lot of time just hanging out at the house playing games and stuff like that. So I can probably, I still don't have that hard of a time getting that stitch in, hopefully. So yeah, that is my Stitch Mania plans. It's low-key. I needed something low-key, and it's still probably higher key than it needed to be. I didn't want to do Monogamania because I've already got one project that I'm working on every day with the dragon piece that I'm stitching for my brother. So, and I could have done the same thing, but I'm already doing that. So where's the fun in that? So I will be doing just a small ornament, and maybe I'll get some of them done by Christmas. I probably won't share them as I just work on them. I'll probably only share them as I get a finish. So it may be a little while. You may not see any of these come out in May. You may not see. Maybe I'll do a big picture at the end of the month where I show all of the pieces. I may. Some of them are really, really small. And, you know, there will be some days that I have more time to stitch than others. So I may have 1 or 2 that I actually have finished by the end of the month. If so, I'll definitely show those. And then I'll just kind of share them as I finish them. So you won't see them as whips. You'll just see them when they're finished. If I still have any at the beginning of May 2020, then I will show you where I'm at on those and how many I have left, because I will probably incorporate them into my Maynia plans for 2020. So yeah, that's where I'm at on it. It's super simple. It's similar to what a couple of other people are doing. I know Jen Lee is doing 50 new starts, all less than 50 by 50. She'll probably have them finished because she stitches, I think, more and faster than I do. I don't know if she'll have them all finished by the end of May, but she'll finish her 50 before I finish these 31, I'm sure. And then I know there's somebody else who's doing everything, just doing mainly Christmas and mainly out of just cross stitch. By the time I saw her video, I had already decided that I was not going to do the just cross stitch, but it made me all sad that I wasn't, because some of those designs are just really pretty, especially when you get into the prairie schoolers and country cottage needleworks and all of those. So, but these are cute too, and they'll stitch up. Most of them will stitch up real fast and easy. So yeah, hopefully I'll have a few of those each month to show you over the next few months. That is my Maynia plans. And now, a few mentions, or a couple of mentions. Let me see if I get this right. Blue Horse Yellow Cow has released a couple of videos in the past week. I'm excited to see her back. It had been a little while since she had recorded. I think her last video was 3 or 4 months ago, so I was excited to see her shooting a video again. She's commented on some of my videos, so I knew she was still out there, but I was excited to see that she shot a video. I really like her style. I don't stitch a lot of things in the same kind of theme as she does, but I really like that, and I really would like to stitch some more of those kind of medium to big, more primitive kind of looking. I don't know how to describe it, but I really like her style that she picks for her stitching a lot. So I enjoy watching her. I also feel like she's one of those people that I feel like whenever I sit down and watch her, that she's having a conversation with me, which is always nice. And she's released one where it was just her at her kitchen table showing what she's been doing, and then she released another one with her daughter this past weekend. They do a crafting retreat every year where the two of them just go and spend a crafty weekend together, which sounds like an awesome time. So yeah, I want to mention that she's back doing some more videos. If you haven't watched her, go check her out, because like I said, I just really enjoy her. And then Erica D House, I think is the name of her YouTube channel. She's new. You've probably seen her because it seems like everybody was talking about her, but I've really been enjoying her videos too. She's another one, I think, that stitched for a while and then kind of put it away and has started again. And she also does quilting and things like that, which I also quilt a little bit, not a whole lot, and I haven't done a lot well, since I picked up cross stitching. I've barely done any sewing at all, but I need to get back into it. So I've enjoyed watching her videos. She's got 4 of them. I will link both of those channels down below. If you haven't watched their videos, check them out. That's all I'm going to mention today. There's more that I could, but when you haven't done a video in 3 weeks, there's so much that I could probably fill a video just talking about what other people are doing. And then the last thing I have, speaking of quilting, is my game that I'm going to share with you. This is called Patchwork. It is by Uwe Rosenberg. He's really famous for heavier games like Agricola, Caverna, Feast of Odin. I have I've played Feast of Odin. That might be the only of his heavier games that I've played. This is a 2-player game where you're making a quilt. You have a player board. Let's see if I can pull this out. Of course. And your player board is just a bunch of squares. And you're building your quilt on this with things like these little kind of Tetris-y type pieces. And you're trying to build to where you can cover as many squares as possible, because if you have empty squares at the end of the game, then that's negative points. So you want to make sure that you have as many of your squares filled as possible. My very first game, I think I scored 2 points, maybe. The negative scores in this game are not uncommon, because you're kind of vying for these Tetris type tiles around the table. You move, you have a marker that you move around. They're kind of laid out in a circle, and you move this marker around to pick which piece you're going to want. And there is a main board. I did not prepare for this part, that is for sure. So there's 2 sides. They both operate the same way, but you go around the board with this marker, with these markers here, sorry. And you pick how far you move. The less you move, the less times you can move the tracker around the Tetris pieces. That is correct, right? My daughter's over here. I'm double checking that I've got that correct.
The further ahead you move, the more turns your opponent can potentially get.
The further ahead you move, the more turns your opponent can get. So you may want to move further ahead so you can get that optimal piece on the board, but then you're giving your opponent more turns.
I don't know if are you talking about the time board, or are you talking about
the time board?
Well, it's the same deal.
Yeah, so it's something like that. I'm sorry, I should have made myself a little bit more familiar with it. And then there's these little buttons that are currency, and you'll see there are buttons here that you pick up as you go along the board. I think the first person, that's why you might want to move ahead faster, is to get a button. That's what it is, because the first person that lands on the button gets a button,
or
right?
You want the piece that gives you more time.
Or you want the piece that gives you more time. So yeah, you just kind of move around. Whoever, basically last player always goes first. Or the person in the last place always goes first. And you're just building this quilt board to see who fills it up. There's extra bonus points if you are the first person to 100% fill it up. You get a bonus amount of, I think it's 7 points. These are currency and then points at the end. And then, like I said, you get negative points. So, it's a fun little game. I haven't played it in a little while. I should pull it back out. But I was talking about quilting, and I've noticed a lot of people talking about their quilting on their FlossTube channels. So, I thought maybe some people might be interested in this little game called Patchwork. So, yeah, that is what I have to share with y'all today. Sorry, I'm so scattered. I think I'm just out of practice. I say that every time, even if I've only shot like a week in the past, I feel like I'm out of practice. But hopefully I'll be a little more consistent. I know I say that too. So don't count on me in anything I say. I do my best, and sometimes it's better than others. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. I'm glad you joined me today. And I've been enjoying watching everybody's Maynia plans. That's been fun. I will link, I didn't mention this, I will link the Stitch Maynia Facebook group down below too. Like I said, if I talk about anything, I will do my best to link it down below so that you can find it and check it out a little easier, hopefully, than having to do a search for it. So yeah, that's all I have. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.